Okay, so get this. We're diving deep today into AI learning,
Yeah.
but not the kind you're probably thinking of.
Right.
We're talking about creating a whole 3D world
Wow.
out of pure data, and AI can like run around in it
Yeah.
and learn by interacting with the environment itself.
It's a pretty wild concept.
It is a wild concept.
Taking those familiar graphs, with the nodes and edges,
Yeah,
and turning them into a playground for AI to learn.
exactly. And that's what's so crazy about this.
Yeah.
It's not just some abstract visualization.
Right.
Researchers are actually building these 3D environments
Wow.
and using them to train AI in a totally new way.
It all comes down to understanding graphs, I think.
Okay.
They're more than just those diagrams we see in textbooks.
Right.
They're really the foundation for how we represent relationships
Yeah.
in so many different fields.
Like, give me an example.
From social networks to knowledge bases, it's all built on graphs.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Every time you see like a recommendation on a website,
Yep.
chances are there's a graph working behind the scenes.
Right.
Connecting your preferences to products or other users or whatever.
Exactly. And those graph neural networks that are super trendy right now,
Oh, yeah. Those are everywhere.
they completely rely on this structure
Okay.
of nodes and edges to understand data.
So graphs are obviously important,
Yeah.
but it gets really interesting because we're not just analyzing them, we're taking them to another dimension.
Okay.
Literally,
Like 3D.
like 3D.
Yeah.
And that's where hyperbolic space comes in.
It sounds like Star Trek,
Right.
but it's a different type of geometry.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for showing all these complex relationships.
So how would you explain that
Okay, so picture like a saddle shape.
instead of a flat surface?
Yeah, exactly. That's hyperbolic space in a nutshell.
So in that space,
Right.
would parallel lines diverge?
Yeah, it's a curved space.
It's so hard to picture.
It is mind-bending.
But why does this even matter for our discussion?
Okay, so in normal Euclidean space,
The flat world we're used to.
yeah, exactly. Like if you try to visualize a really complex graph there,
Uh-huh.
especially if it has this hierarchy to it, it gets really crowded.
Yeah, like a family tree
Right.
with like hundreds of branches.
Exactly, and you try to squeeze that onto a piece of paper.
There's just not enough room.
Exactly, you just can't do it.
Oh, okay.
But in hyperbolic space, there's like more room to breathe.
Okay.
You can represent all those hierarchies and complex connections,
Uh-huh.
and things don't get all squished together.
So it's like having a 3D canvas that just expands infinitely to fit all the nodes and edges.
And researchers are actually building simulators now.
Really?
Yeah, that take a graph and place it in this hyperbolic space.
Wow.
They're using Python libraries
Okay.
like NetworkX to handle the graphs,
Uh-huh.
and then GeoOpt
Hmm.
to create that hyperbolic magic.
I see. So each node in the graph gets placed somewhere random
Yeah.
in this 3D world,
Right.
and they get a random value assigned to them.
It's like giving each node its own location and a bit of energy.
Okay, and what about the edges?
So each edge also gets a random weight,
Representative.
how strong that connection is between those two nodes.
Okay, so we have this 3D world
Yes.
built from data relationships. Nodes scattered all over.
Yep.
Some are connected strongly, some weakly.
Exactly.
Now we want to add AI to this.
Right.
What kind of brain do these AI agents have?
You guessed it, neural networks.
Of course.
But we're not talking about anything super complex.
Okay.
Each AI has a simple neural network that acts as its brain,
I see.
and it takes in information from its neighbor nodes,
Okay.
processes it, and then updates the value of the node it's currently on.
So it's tasting the flavor of each node.
Yeah, and deciding to amplify or tone it down.
Interesting. And by doing that, it's influencing the entire network.
Exactly. And that ability to influence its surroundings
Yeah.
is what makes the whole simulation so dynamic.
Okay, so let's say we drop an AI agent
Uh-huh.
into this 3D world.
What happens?
So it basically starts hopping from node to node,
Okay.
navigating the graph. And with each hop, it uses its neural network
Uh-huh.
to process information from its current spot.
Okay.
It takes in those neighbor values and edge weights we talked about,
Yeah.
and then it updates the value of that node.
Based on what it just learned. So
Right.
each move it makes changes the environment.
Exactly.
It's like a video game.
Yeah.
Where the game board changes based on what you do.
I like that analogy.
And I'm guessing the edges also change as a result.
You got to, those edge weights are constantly being adjusted
Mm-hmm.
based on what the AI is doing.
Okay.
So yeah, the relationships between the nodes are always evolving.
This sounds pretty chaotic.
It's definitely dynamic.
All the nodes changing values,
Yeah.
connections strengthening and weakening.
And to make it even wilder, nodes can actually disappear.
Wait, what?
Yeah, if their value gets too low, they just vanish.
That just disappear.
Gone.
And can new nodes appear?
Yeah, based on how the simulation is set up.
Wow, this is unpredictable.
Yeah.
So we have these AI agents running around,
Uh-huh.
shaping the data they learn from.
They're shaping the very structure of the data.
It's like a landscape that's constantly shifting.
I like that.
This is groundbreaking stuff.
It really is.
Why is this such a big deal?
Well, this goes way beyond traditional AI.
Okay.
Like imagine AI that can live in these environments where information is changing all the time.
Like the real world.
Exactly. And the AI is not just looking at data points.
Yeah.
It's understanding how they relate to each other.
It's seeing the whole picture.
Right. And this opens up a whole new level of scalability.
Okay.
We could have AI that can handle massive data sets.
The kind we see everywhere.
Exactly. In social networks, financial markets, everywhere.
This is a lot to unpack.
We've covered a lot.
We started with graphs,
Then jumped into hyperbolic space
built a 3D world out of data.
and added AI that shapes its own learning environment.
It's mind-blowing.
It is.
I think we need a moment to let all of this sink in.
Good idea.
We're just getting started.
There's more to come.
We'll be back in a flash to explore how this could be used in the real world.
Can't wait.
Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back. So before the break, we were talking about how this approach to AI, building those 3D worlds from graphs,
Right?
why it's such a game changer.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
It is.
But what about real-world applications?
Okay.
How could this be used in practice?
Let's take modeling how information spreads online,
Okay.
like on social media.
Uh-huh.
We can have each user be a node
Okay.
in this giant graph,
I'm not following.
and they're connected by edges based on their interactions.
Like if they share similar content or
Exactly.
belong to the same groups?
Yeah, and the edge weight could be like
Uh-huh.
how often they interact.
So this whole network of people,
Right.
their connections all laid out in 3D.
You got it.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
But how would this help us understand information spread?
Well, think about it. You could have AI agents in this space
Okay.
simulating how information flows,
Interesting.
or even misinformation.
Oh, I see.
We could test different strategies,
Like what?
like introducing fact-checking initiatives
Uh-huh.
or running educational campaigns,
Okay.
and see how that impacts the way information
It's
travels.
like a virtual lab
Right.
to experiment with fighting misinformation
Yeah, exactly. We could see how different things play out
in a safe space.
in this simulated environment. Yeah.
And this could be used for more than just social networks, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like what else?
Imagine using it for financial markets,
Okay.
where the nodes are companies
Uh-huh.
and edges are financial relationships.
To predict trends?
Yeah, or even model how diseases spread
Oh, wow.
to see how different health measures
Yeah.
could affect an outbreak.
So the AI isn't just crunching numbers.
It's more than that.
It's like it's understanding
Yeah.
the nuances
Yeah.
of how things connect.
It's a different way of thinking about AI.
Totally.
It's not just input and output anymore.
Uh-huh.
It's about systems that explore,
Okay.
adapt, and learn from data structure.
It's like giving AI spatial awareness.
Exactly.
Instead of rows and columns, they see a 3D world.
That's it. And that ability to grasp relationships
Yeah.
makes this approach so exciting.
It's about going deeper,
Right.
beyond simple correlations.
To understanding connections.
I'm already picturing so many applications,
Me too.
like medicine materials, science, climate modeling.
The possibilities are endless.
But there must be challenges too, right?
Of course, it can't be that easy.
What kind of challenges?
Well, one big one is just the computational complexity.
Uh-huh.
Simulating these environments, especially with large graphs,
It's a lot of data.
it takes serious processing power.
Right. And as data sets grow,
It gets even harder.
are there other challenges?
Yeah, another big one is understanding the AI's actions.
Okay.
We can see what they do, but it's hard to know why.
It's like watching someone play a video game.
Exactly. You see their moves.
So you don't know their strategy.
Right. So researchers are working on making these AI agents more transparent.
To understand their decisions better.
Yeah. Which is key for trust and responsible use.
And I imagine designing the environment is a challenge too.
Oh, definitely.
Like the layout, the rules, all of that.
It all matters.
I see. Yeah.
It has to be tailored to the specific problem
Yeah.
and the type of data you're working with.
So there's a lot of fine-tuning involved.
There is, to create the right learning experience.
It's amazing how much detail goes into this.
It's a testament to the researchers in this field.
It's so creative.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
There's so much room for innovation.
We're just scratching the surface.
Exactly.
It's been an amazing journey so far.
It has.
From graphs to hyperbolic space.
To AI shaping its world.
And we've just started exploring the applications.
It's really pushing the boundaries of AI.
I can't wait to see what comes next.
Me neither.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
let's take a moment to reflect on all of this
Okay.
and think about where this technology could take us.
Sounds good.
We'll be back in a moment to share some final thoughts.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so we're back.
Back again.
And I think before we wrap up this whole deep dive into AI and 3D data environments,
Yeah.
we've talked about all the potential benefits.
Uh-huh.
But with any new technology,
Right.
we have to think about the downsides too.
Absolutely. Just because we can do something
Yeah,
doesn't always mean we should.
true.
And especially with something this powerful,
Yeah.
we need to think about the ethics of it all.
Can you give me an example?
Like, let's say we apply this approach to understanding consumer behavior.
Okay.
Like, you could build a 3D graph representing people's online activities.
Yeah.
Their purchases, social connections, all the data companies collect.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
You could use those AI agents to predict what people will buy
Right.
and then target them with ads.
That play on their weaknesses.
Exactly. Like the potential for manipulation is huge.
It's a big concern.
So we need to have these conversations now
Definitely.
about ethics guidelines, responsible development.
Before this technology gets even more advanced.
It feels like we're at a crossroads.
In a way, yeah.
We have this incredible tool
Uh,
that could be amazing,
right.
but it could also be misused.
And that's why these choices we're making now are so important,
Yeah.
to make sure we're using it for good.
Well said. So we've gone from the basics of graphs
To hyperbolic space.
and seen how AI can learn in these 3D worlds.
It's been quite a journey,
It has a future full of possibilities.
but also challenges.
And it's up to all of us to shape that future.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration.
It's been a pleasure.